for many, 2024 NPP has doubled up. If you looked in our political calendar, NPP has more activities than any political party in this country. So we are already ready.
And that involves the Meet the People tours, that's part of the activities, and what else?
The Meet the People tour is a government-sanctioned thing. That's
Yeah,
President Barrow does that. That says any president in office will do that. We had in 2017, when the Grand Alliance was there, the coalition, they had a Meet the People tour. The very people today who are talking about the Meet the People tour is a political thing, they were there. In fact, it is good to put this on record. The parliamentary election of 2017, President Barrow and the UDP then were the ones who tore at a time when the other parties were in fact contesting that tour. But they did not, because it was their interest at the time. You see, it is important for us to take stock. And if we take stock, we understand the mindset of those who sit today and to throw the stones.
When you were just appointed administrative secretary of the NPP after losing the election in Brikama,
yes,
the Brikama Area Council chairmanship elections, you said you had an agenda. And I remember that conversation. I said, what was your agenda? You know, was it to poach, key figures from the other parties and bring them to the NPP? You said you wouldn't say what it was, but apparently, gradually, that's been seemingly the strategy.
My agenda, I can tell you profoundly today, is to lead, others follow.
What does that mean? I have no idea.
NPP, yes, as a political party, will not be in the offensive, will not be in the defensive any longer, as it was. All the time we are defending, we are coming out to defend. But now we are going to take the front, and the others has to follow us. And basically, that's what is happening.
And that means taking the...
That means Gambians who are interested and want to see this country move forward will come and join the National People's Party. And that's basically what is happening.
Through whose prompting?
Anybody.
Anybody
in the National People's Party. And I must commend my very good cousin, Alhaji Mamadou Bintu Diba of Badibu Salekenye, my uncles, who...
Is that the latest
yes,
cross-carpeter?
Yes, who recently made a political tsunami in Badibu Salekenye.
How big was that
massive
defection?
Massive.
So what does he bring to NPP?
Everything.
What do you mean everything?
He brings Salekenye to NPP, a traditional opposition stronghold. And you'll see that in the next few weeks to come.
So how does that hit the party, he walked away from UDP in this case?
They're in tears. And this is not just me sitting here in tears. We have seen, I was aware of people visiting his house in tears, because that was the biggest shock. They never thought.
People how high up the hierarchy, or
of
is
course,
it just
riffraffs
riffraffs like Peter Gomez?
No, not the riffraffs. Those who matters in that particular party, in that community, felt this was the biggest tsunami, political tsunami of Salike. And I will see that.
You follow the program religiously, and I'm sure you would have been one of those people who celebrated the data analyst, data scientist who sat there and said the UDP has struggled to go past the 35, 36, % of the vote mark over the years. And in fact, they've shown, a steady decline over the years. I mean, do you trust opinion polls?
I do. It helps us to...
What about the one that said 77% of Gambians are disaffected with Barrow's handling of this country, running of this country?
It is important when such informations come out, we scrutinize them. Yes, certain opinions might be factual, but certain opinion might be factual based on those they spoke to. If you want to get a broad opinion about the government is how it's run. If you talk to...
You're simply saying opinion polls are subjective then?
They can be subjective sometimes. It can be subjective sometimes. Because today, previously, if I have to come to Peter Gomez, I have to leave an hour to get in here. Today, I left in 15 minutes and I was here in 10 minutes to sit down and have a... Though it's coffee time, I did not have a coffee.
Where do you live? You have part of my coffee. Where do you live? You got here in 10 minutes?
Yes. I live in Jabang by the traffic light. It's straight.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
You know that this Bertil Harding highway, you know, I mean, is so difficult to maneuver. Smooth as it is.
No, it's not difficult because what I realize in Gambian traffic, Peter, if I need to get to work at 8 o'clock, you expect me to leave my house at 7 o'clock. But everybody wants to leave at the same time to get to the office at the same time. So we crowded the road and we cannot make a headway. So leave at a time when, it's favorable. The time I left my house, the road was empty.
Yeah, because
the roundabouts were empty. But when everybody sits at home and think, okay, it's 10 minutes for me to get to my work, they all get crowded at the roundabout and they make no heck of it.
Okay, so let's go back to, the statistics. So
yes.
Afrobarometer says 77%, nearly, 8 out of every 10 Gambians is disaffected with the running of the country, under Barrow, of course. And Tuba Mare, data scientist, data analyst, literally gives UDP no chance at the next election. I mean, these are two contrasting
it is important,
data, if you like.
It is important for us to digest this too. And we are not going to brush away the Afrobiometer, statistics or data. We will look into it. We'll scrutinize it.
One or two people have, including the Minister of Information.
We have to look at it because we also must understand where do they get this data from. Of course, you can sit here and use the Facebook pages or use the online stuff and have this thing. And we know...
Which is part of polling.
Yeah, which is part of polling. But when you understand the Gambian scenario, those who are keenly going to the ballot boxes are not those who sit and make opinion on Facebook or internet. So if, for example, the doctor go right to the carton de corner, to the interior, I would go with his analysis or his data than somebody who sits and use Facebook and use questionnaires to university students and those in the diaspora, for example, to make an opinion about the country. So we need to know where they get their sources from. But I'm very confident that as far as the National People's Party is concerned, we are on the right track and we are moving this country forward.
I'm sure you've heard suggestions that there is disaffection within the NPP, in that people who defected from other parties are now the ones in key positions, starting with Seedy Ceesay here, who was once a Doi supporter, and a prominent one at that. Sabali now, and all whatnot. Is it true? Is there disaffection in the party? Is there division? I mean, is the NPP a party of angry people?
I mean, I would not say that we are a party of angry people. January 17th, 18th, the National People Party have manifested unity, have manifested strength, and have shown to the world that this is a party that is, definitely serving the interests of the people. When we had our biannual Congress in Jarosoma, of course, in any society, in any group, whether in our homes, you'll have few people who may not be happy. But that necessarily doesn't mean the entire people are not happy. Those isolated incidents of you and me and Peter, for example, or me and somebody in the National People may have a disagreement, doesn't generally mean people are not united or we have camps in the party. That is not the case, because I think, for example, the National People Party today, our task is to see that this party become an institutional party, stays here beyond me, beyond President Barrow, and all those today who are in the National People's Party. And that's something that we believe in, and that's our mantra. So our little agreements here and there is normal in any society. I mean, even you, as an employer, you'll have issues, with your staff. You will give them warning, verbal warning, written warning, and here and there. But as far as I'm concerned, the National People Party, we have our goal, and that is to make this party an institution that will live beyond President Barrow and myself.
Interesting point. He was recently severely criticized for suggesting that the only reason he's seeking a third mandate is to prevent the death, if you like, of his party, that the party is young and needs him all right, to take it further until he can trust somebody with the leadership. I mean, he didn't put it in so many words. I'm just trying to paraphrase
I think people need to...
And the way it's been interpreted.
I think people need to understand this. President Barrow, this time, is the first time of the National People's Party serving as a president. Our National Assembly members, this is their first time. What we had 2017 to 2021 was a leader of a coalition party.
But he said he was only to stay in office for 3 years.
I mean,
he should have disappeared after 3 years.
We had constitutional experts here who came and debunked that he cannot stay for 3 years.
Including the leader of the UDP.
Yes. So for me, since I'm not a legal-minded person, I'm not going to go into that area, but I would make reference to Ousseynou Dabo and his team, who are experts in constitutional law, to say Barrow cannot step aside. So
I thought Halifa Sallah was the expert in the constitution.
Ousseynou has a training in constitution. He's of course,
and he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer per se. So we will, of course, Halifa will make arguments.
So you blame people like him for Barrow going beyond the 10
I don't
years?
actually blame him. I think he make an opinion, and I think Barrow sided, and many Gambians believe Ousseinou's opinion definitely.
So Barrow just seized on the opportunity.
Not the opportunity, but come on, Ousseynou make a statement, and that statement went down well. With the Gambian people say, we want, this gentleman to complete these 5 years that's been mandated by the people.
No, the Gambian people didn't come out to say he must stay in office to complete the 5 years.
When we had the 3-year Jordan and all that, it was a handful of people that came out. The average Gambian start in their home and eat their beneke and their super kanja. You and I were not in the street. It didn't bother you or I.
Handful of people? You call that crowd handful of people?
Of course it's a handful of people. How much to the population of the Gambia, Peter? You say it was not a 10,000 march.
Well, it was in the thousands, and you can't
come on. You don't call that 1,000.
Seriously?
No. Just the Y Johnson, a crowd of full standing there. Oh, come on. When you have you talk about thousands, of course, President Barrow and his team would have listened to them. But it's just a few number of people. I won't call them disgruntled, but people who felt
seriously
they have been betrayed. People who felt they have been betrayed.
They were not in the thousands, not even 1,000.
No, it was not.
Wow.
It was not. We can go into the footages. It's not. So the average Gambians were actually not bothered. And we have seen...
So you were explaining, so the first 5 years...
Yes, it was not...
Are discounted. They're not part of
National People's Party. And I think people really need to be honest to themselves.
The contention is not NPP. The contention is Barrow. Barrow has, will have done 10 years by 2026.
You see, President Barrow is a fan of term limit. He said it.
He's done 10. Let him.
No, Peter.
Let him lead by example.
Let's make this right. President Barrow is a fan of term limit. President Barrow, in the history of this country, Peter, you and I knows, we had Sadauda here for 30 years. We had Yahya Jammeh here for 22 years. It was only President Barrow who came out supporting a draft constitution in this country with a 2-term limit, giving us a constitution, draft constitution.
Okay, draft, exactly.
A draft constitution with 2-term limit.
That's important.
And a 50+1. This gentleman is a fan of a term limit, and that's on record.
Now, I still want you to justify why he must seek a 3rd term.
Are you with me?
I am. Yes, I'm trying to see whether there are messages for you.
No, they won't send messages. I know my good friends, the Pasambas and others, they won't send messages. Hello to my good friends.
Pasamba doesn't send messages.
He makes statements.
Exactly.
Right. Peter, the 2017 to 2021 was, yes, President Barrow, but it was the coalition.
Okay, President Barrow on behalf of the coalition.
And here is a man with wisdom, and thought he believed in moving this country forward. And for him to be able to do that, he came with the idea, a brilliant idea, to set this party, the National People's Party, with the support of the Gambian people. Being the founder of that party, I think it is fair enough to allow him to continue for another term to deliver that development agenda and making the National People's Party a formidable party in the history of this country. And that's all he is interested. He's not interested to stay here forever. He have said it time and time. He believed life after presidency. For the first time in the history of this country, a sitting president actually going out looking for land to build his retirement home. And we've seen that. He went through the normal process, the due process, to acquire a land, to set up, to go home after his presidency.
If I understand your argument, first 5 years, Barrow was head of a coalition.
Yes.
Is Barrow not still the head of a coalition?
But he was there to work.
Is Barrow still not head of a coalition? We just spoke about APRC being part of it. We just spoke about GPDP, NRP, all these other parts.
It is different. It is different. The coalition that we had in 2016, 2017 was they went through a primary and came to an agreement. Through a primary, President Barrow won, and his word was to lead that transition for that period of time. Now we have a National People's Party, and these other parties came to join willfully. Nobody asked them to come. They decided, they believe that President Barrow and the National People's Party they are the party that are taking this country forward, and they came to join the party, the National People's Party. You cannot compare that to 2016, 2017. The format, the arrangement, the transition arrangement, the coalition arrangement are completely different.
All right.
But again, those who are advocating that President Barrow needs to step aside after 2 terms, I hope they also understand that we have parties in this country since their founding to date. The same people are showing their faces.
Starting with Doi?
I mean, we had Khalifa. If you bring Doi, I think Khalifa said he's not going to be seeking any elected office. He made that position. He made his position clear after the last election.
So they will likely put up a new candidate. Is that what you're suggesting?
And we have seen in the parliamentary election of Serekunda, he did not contest. So probably it would not be fair on me to say he's...
What about UDP? So you are referring to UDP then?
I'm not referring to UDP alone. I'm saying political parties that are here. I mean, with UDP too, we don't know whether Usainu Dabo is going to contest. But I believe, with no doubt.
Are you wishing that he contests?
I'm not actually wishing for him to contest. I think he's going to contest. And I believe he's going to contest. You can take this to the bank. Usainu Dabo will be on the ballot for 2026. He'll be on the ballot. It's very clear.
And he's one of the reasons Barrow is also running.
No. Barrow has an agenda.
Yeah, but he talks about beating his father, meeting his father
he said
at the 2026 ballot, and beating him and retiring him.
What he said, if Usaini choose to run 2026, will defeat him. And this time will be heavily defeated, bigger defeated in the history of this country.
And that will be his retirement finally.
I mean, he may choose to come back again. Well, no problem.
I'm trying to...
I mean, I cannot, he's not my employee for me to send him in retirement.
It's what your...
Yeah, that's what Barrow would say. You send him to retirement.
Exactly.
And I think, with all fairness...
Is he saying the wrong thing?
No.
Barrow is okay to say that he will...
Yeah, of course, because they have the father-son relationship. Barrow and Hussein have the father-son relationship. Hussein is my grandpa. I mean, I don't see anyone on the ballot for UDP apart from Hussein Dabo. And you can take this to the bank.
Let's have your final comments. Maybe in terms of, as we get closer to 2026, do you feel the rhetoric, will be ratcheted up, or do you think it will mellow a bit? Because sometimes, we can be very, very mean in our language.
I believe, and this is what President Barrow believed too, politics should not divide us.
Have we not been divided by politics already?
No, I don't think so. For me, and I've seen it anywhere we go, with other political parties, we are brothers. A couple of weeks ago, I met my grandmother, met me at JTS, Ajiyam Seka, had to dip her hand in my pocket to take the depends. And that's the deputy party leader of the United Democratic Party.
You're exposing her.
No, I'm not.
I wouldn't have loved to have dealt with you in private, and then you come on radio and YouTube and expose me.
No. It's not an expose. I'm just telling you the relationship that we have.
Okay.
Our kids are my goro. They are my auntie. I stay with them when I go to London. My wife stays with the family when we go to London. So politics has never changed that. And then, like Hussein is my granddad. You know, we have a good relationship. I can walk into his house and let others. You know, the Alma
I'd like to see you walk to his house.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
Just 2 minutes. You know, after this, I'll stand on the road and see you. You know, walk in there, and then I'll
have a very good breakfast there, and the Sally will give me a beautiful breakfast. So politics has never divided us. Yeah. But what I want to make clear here, as far as the National People Party is concerned, we are working, we are consolidating this party, and we are transforming this party to a party with a difference, institutionalizing it. For the first time in the history of this country, a political party has given out 50 scholarships. A political party have created the most formidable student wing at the University of the Gambia. A political party that have built structures, permanent structures for its party supporters in every single region. A political party that have created 70 plus jobs in this country. The people that are taking something to put on the table for their families. I think President Barrow needs to be commended for his wisdom and his sense of direction.
One of us needs to be corrected. I say National People's Party. I hear you say National People Party.
No, National People's Party.
Okay. So when you say National People Party, it's a mistake on you. You should be fired. Seedy, thanks for coming.